Right. So let's get started with that fundamental question: what is legal reasoning? In my opinion, always a great place to start. Um, and I think the best way to go about understanding what legal reasoning is to look at a set of facts that this so-called reasoning, legal reasoning, is meant to apply to. So let's consider a set of facts. Read this with me. Rakesh was driving his Santro within the given speed limit. He received an SMS from Alka and turned his head away in order to respond quickly. He failed to notice Rishabh's Hyundai i10 turn, and the resulting accident severely damaged the latter car. Is Rakesh liable for the damages? Here, of course, by damages, they are referring to the damages to Rishabh's Hyundai i10. Now, when you look at a problem set like this, if someone just tells you this set of facts, a number of things happen in the mind, and immediately your mind starts coming to a judgment. You look at this and say, oh gosh, he was looking at an SMS from Alka, so he was really careless, and his carelessness went and resulted in harm to Rishabh, and surely Rakesh is wrong. So at most, because of the fact that we have some amount of collected peripheral knowledge, we have some sense of right and wrong, we come to a conclusion. Somebody asks you, do you think Rakesh is responsible? We are likely to say yes, he is responsible because he was careless. Please consider that in such a situation, we have to depend, like I said, on our peripheral knowledge, what all the muddle of different things that we know, and on our sense of right and wrong. So therefore, at most we can pass a social or moral judgment. There is no way in which we can say with certainty that something is one way or the other. In this fact situation, we haven't been told what right is and what wrong is. We haven't been told what is the applicable rule of law. Suppose you threw out all of that peripheral knowledge, all of the things you've heard, all of your morality out of your head. In order to really decide whether Rakesh is liable, you would need to determine that he has done something wrong. And in order to determine that he has done something wrong, you should have a principle of law which says what is right and what is wrong. For instance, you should have a principle of law that says that if you are driving your car carelessly and you hurt someone, that's wrong. Right? And I know that most of you are going to turn around and say, but we know that. Why do we need to be told that? But that's exactly the point of legal reasoning. The point of legal reasoning is that it is not a test of what all law you may have heard of and what you're aware of. It is a test of how to apply a given principle of law to a set of facts. For instance, if you were given this principle, if a person fails to perform his duty of care, he is liable for any damages that may result. Now, to that set of facts, you are not applying your mind full of little pieces of law that you've heard of and your morality of right and wrong, because that's not reasoning. That's not reasoning. You're applying a given principle of law. And that process of applying a given principle of law to a set of facts to determine whether something has happened or not happened is really what is called legal reasoning. So therefore, just let's take a step back from this. A set of facts, something has happened, not happened, you have to decide whether it's right or wrong. If you don't know the applicable principle of law, you don't know what is right or wrong according to the law, then the only thing you can apply is your general knowledge and your sense of morality, that it just seems right, seems wrong. And that is not reasoning. That is not what is sought. So you will never get just a fact situation saying, tell us what is right or wrong. So that would be a test of morality, of your general knowledge, and that's not what is being tested here. What is legal reasoning is when you are given a specific principle of law and asked, what happens when you apply this principle of law to this particular fact situation? And that helps you determine whether something is right or wrong. And it helps you determine that because it's a kind of test. It's a kind of test. For instance, if you look at this principle that is given here, let's call it P, and let's call the fact situation F. Yeah. So if you look at the principle, if a person fails to perform his duty of care, that means if a person is not careful. I mean, it's a kind of like a technical sounding thing, duty of care, but really what does it mean? A duty to be careful. He is liable for any damages that may result. Now, this is a very clear principle of law. It says, look, you have a duty of care. If you fail to perform it, whatever damage happens as a result of it, you are liable. And this we can easily apply to the given fact situation. Rakesh was driving a Santro. He was within the given speed limit, no problem with that. But then he received an SMS from Alka, turned his head away in order to respond to that SMS. Clear failure of duty of care, damaged the I-10, is responsible. So then you know when you apply this given principle to this fact situation, this is what happens. And that process of reasoning is what is called legal reasoning. So legal reasoning is not you looking at a set of facts and figuring out whether it's right or wrong, or whether it seems right or wrong. It is you determining whether it is right or wrong by applying a given principle of law. And that is legal reasoning. And how well you understand that principle of law, how well you apply it to the fact situation, which again you should understand well, all these things are really the critical components of legal reasoning. Right? So just take a step back, look at the situation, try to understand there is a fact situation, there is a principle which is applied to a fact situation to figure out what is right and what is wrong. And then there is a correct answer that flows from that. There's no room for subjectivity, or there is very little room for subjectivity. It is an objective process of applying a principle, a kind of test to a fact situation to determine whether something is right or wrong. That is legal reasoning. We're now going to move on to the next section.